Talk Radio, inviting you to join me on a road to truth via the path of non-contradiction. Join us each week on Feet to the Fire, a show with the goals of examining a subject matter on its own merits and test how it stands up to the many possibilities found in reality. All without pre-drawn conclusions found in personal bias. No left or right wings here. No pounding the pulpit of ego-driven my way or the highway attitudes. But there are no free passes given either. Answers to questions are important, but equally important is the reasons and methods used to find the answer. The lack of contradiction is the final judge here on Feet to the Fire. Feet. Sunday evenings. To how do you listen? Fire. Check out feettothefireradio.com. Now broadcasting live with archives kept in HD video on our YouTube channel and with high-quality audio only at SPREAKER.com. The views expressed in the following show are of the host, the guest, and the callers. The content of the following show, its accuracy, authenticity, and the ramifications of the use or application of said content is the responsibility of those speaking and listening, not the broadcast medium. All right, we are back and we are live. Feet to Fire. I'm your host, James Arthur Jancik, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. All right, well, boy, I'm kind of overloaded here with technical stuff. Oops, I'm going to be playing that again. I didn't mean to do that. Overloaded with technical stuff here because I'm now working several things here. We got the YouTube HD broadcast, and now we've added Spreaker for the audio-only portion. So that people could listen live through Spreaker. They can listen live on the website for audio only. They can listen live on the website, the video. They can listen live on YouTube. And in fact, all of these have an archive after the fact. So I've been setting it all up today. I've been working on it. So it's up and it's running. I have in the background today a reminder of the most important physical thing in our universe. Is the sun. And lest we all get caught up into the the cult and belief system, of global warming by man-made endeavors. That is there to remind us. Back there in the background there, you see these little things wisping out of there. It's telling you, I'm the boss. So we got a few things to talk about today. I have some news we'll go over. I also have some new functions. I mentioned some of that with the website. My brother has been working diligently on the website. I had some trouble with it. I'm used to doing the old-fashioned HTML where they're static pages. They don't do much, but they they also don't crash, generally speaking, because you have a static page. There's basically no code running. So we have I have that, and he went in and did work on it this morning, got it all running. It's faster now. If you go onto the main page, let me go to the main page. You see the green button, that's listen to live audio. And it'll take you to the audio page. If you go to the main page, let me go to the main page. I'm not gonna go there because I'm doing live, so I'm not gonna keep going back. So, guys, let me know how that's working because I'm copying it locally and I will upload if there's anything because I'm using a system here that is using this, sharing the sound card. So if somebody is using Spreaker and it's messed up, let me know. I did a test It was working fine, but I just got a little panicky because I hit that button and it was staticky. So I don't know what the deal is, but we'll get to that. Well, that's going on, and then you hit the live, you hit the watch video button, and it takes you to the sound card. So if web page, and there we are using. Let's get out of there, and it's messed. So try to make it easy so that when somebody wants to come to the page, bam, all they have to do is push a button, and there you go. So if the Spreaker isn't working out, I will have to work out a different method of doing that. But as it stands now, I'm going to try and do that. If you can also go to Spreaker. There's a link to go to that Spreaker. If you have a Spreaker app, you can listen to it on your phone, tablet, what have you. I'm trying to do all this stuff to get it all in order so I can just concentrate on doing the show. Because I'm the only guy here pushing the buttons. Well, I shouldn't say that. Thanks to my brother for working on that stuff. So we have those options. Just trying to make it simple and cross-platform friendly. As I started doing this many years ago, 2003, and let me tell you, it was rather difficult to get that stuff running because there was so many options for all the browsers and all the computers, and was it a nightmare? A lot of people would just take one and leave everybody else out and make them. And if you were big enough, then you'd have to do what they said. And otherwise, I always like to try and accommodate people. So that's that. So check it out. There's actually an article on the website that explains it. You can just click on that and it will tell you. So you don't have to waste so much time here. Let me get to the web page. I got some news items. Well, this is a little, I don't know if this is a little what the word is, I don't know. I like it, but they have, with the Spreaker, I've also, because of work, Steph Daniels, who is a guy I listen to, and I recommend listening to his podcast, kind of a spiritual guy, Christian, and yet, very unique and very, let's say, emotionally / dedicated to his faith and so forth, and deals with prophetic utterances too. A very interesting guy. He also a musician and also like that. So I'm getting there's a bit of static on there. Well, I don't mean to take up time here, but. Let's see. I thought that was the way it was supposed to be. Maybe they'll try this. Oops. Now there's nothing. I guess that, let me try another thing here. Now I'm not doing anything. Oh, here we go. Well, I'll have to check this out. Auto ducking is disabled. It worked the other day. So I don't know if it's not a bandwidth issue because I have plenty. I did a test and all of this, but I'll have to check it out. So anyway, he's working on one of my songs as a producer. He's done soundtracks, and he's got a very abstract and talented, very detailed abstract type of music stuff. And so he's working on his stuff. So I got kind of excited about this, and I went back and I started a Spreaker account just for music. And so I've uploaded some of the music stuff that I've done. I tried to go back in time and start out with my first song, which is Heaven Sent, 1979. Been around a while. And then I'm trying to do them in chronological order, getting the ones that are, that are somewhat acceptable. I mean, some of them are bad recordings. And if they're okay, I'll put it up and just to see what people think for the heck of it. I work toward getting into some of the newer stuff that I have done. And so we'll check that out. So that's there. Let me get to some of the... I want to mention that. I'm gonna start going backwards. I think going back to where I left off before last week's show. And work our way up. Should have done this prior to. There we go. We have, of course, more. It was 9/11 last Monday, and so we had various articles up. I have an article here from Fact.net, which is Signs of the Time, and it has some reflections on the events of 9/11 and what is known today or it is not known today, and how it's still looked at as some type of a conspiracy theory, even though, and so forth. I also got a link here, which is pretty good. Bannon, who I was a fan of when he was in the Trump administration. I was very happy he joined it. And he got out. Apparently, he resigned. He wasn't thrown out. He apparently got out because he was he wanted to get on the outside and wanted to get this information out to people. And he seems to be keying in on the rhinos, for those who are following things. So, yeah, I got that. I'll get to the Assange thing. So he has been working outside and saying stuff because he's been inside. He's been right there in the middle of things. And so when he talks about it, he's very authoritative about what's going on inside there. And it's got 25 nice quotes here on Breitbart on things that, let me see if I can open this up. Breitbart's got a million commercial stuff on there. That's one of the things. One of the lines here, Republican establishment is trying to nullify the 2016 elections. It's a brutal fact we have to face. Mitch McConnell, when I first met him, basically says, we don't want to hear any more about drain the swamp talk. So this is stuff coming out from the inside. So there's 25 quotes. I highly recommend looking through it because it's very insightful. And keep looking around for the information. We got a bunch of people. Piano, the Precious, Digital Diva, Margie, Darth Vader, Zindi, Omar are all starting to pile in there. So welcome into the live chat room. I don't see anybody in the chat room for Spreaker, but I just set it up. And also, if it's having trouble with the audio, a lot of people aren't going to hang around. So I may have to open it up. I may have to upload it after the fact, and that's okay if it comes out that way because the other computers that I have to broadcast are older because they work, and I got it all set up, and it works fine. Windows 2000, believe it or not, I'm doing the audio on the other computer for the radio feed down to TogiNet. So it's all good. Okay, so Ann Coulter now. See, I think I pretty much dropped her. She just went off nuts with Trump with DACA. It came out that Trump, it was the Democrats said they got a thing with DACA and they're going to give amnesty and all this, and Ann Coulter went nutty on it, saying, "Well, who else doesn't want to have Trump impeached?" Which is outrageous. You got to give the guy room to work. He's got his own Republicans that are trying to get him. If the Democrats try to get him, he's got to try and do the art of the deal and press one against the other. Hold on. So he's got to work here so that they have. So she was out of line. I think we're going to cut her off. This is great. Jave Lovelock. He's a guy from the old Green movement back in the day, and he is talking about how the environmentalism has become a religion. And that, of course, that's nothing new. I mean, we know this, that it's got into a belief system. It's got out of science into a belief system. Started out in the 60s and 70s when there was a lot of pollution, and things have cleaned up a bit. and it's good to keep everything looking around. But the problem is it's become a religion and / a political tool for oppression. And going back to the Trump thing I mentioned about Trump, here's a good little Dick Morris, 3-minute piece. Trump's Declaration of Independence from both parties. It's a good. Dick has been around the block a few times. He was the Clintons' go-to guy until I guess they stepped on him, and so he's got a good look on it. This is CNN is getting a massive lawsuit. I have the actual link to the lady who's doing it. We'll get that'll do it there. There's a lady who is putting together a class action lawsuit against CNN because CNN has come out, and the basic legality of it is CNN has come out and said Trump supporters are racist. If you libel somebody, no proofs, you just say something about them, which is had it. It's libel, and so there's a class action suit. Anybody who is a Trump supporter can sign in on the lawsuit for this, and this lady who is a lawyer and just started this 20-some days ago and has gotten all over the place with it. To sue them, you can't just go out and call people names, libelous names, negative names that would affect their position, their livelihood, their being. And so this is going to go on. So I'll get links for that, and I'll put links down below for I probably have it up here somewhere, not in order. So it looks like one of the Awan brothers and his wife, who's now coming in on her own reconnaissance from Pakistan, didn't have to do that, to join in and answer the charges with her husband. My guess, and Zero Hedge wrote this, and other people have been saying it, the guess is that they got some kind of immunity deal because they can spill the beans on so many other people. So this is interesting. Got links there. There's more coming up. So keep an eye on this. This to me is the hugest. Is that a word? Hugest? The largest? Scandal in my lifetime. I understand Kennedy was assassinated by, and you have 9/11 and all this stuff, but when you get into the actual main court of law, what those things find, that'll become the huge story. But as it stands now, this will be is looking to be huge. So we got the links to the Zero Hedge story. Got a nice little thing there. Laura Loomer, who is an activist, the New Right, or I don't know how to say it without getting into kind of stereotype. He went up to Hillary Clinton and, "Hi, how you doing?" and everything. You can see the video here. I don't like playing other people's videos. Links will be there so you can watch them. And and she's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And all of a sudden she hits it with so where are those 30,000 emails? But Hillary was pretty cool. Cool meaning, calm. Well, if you're going to believe in fairy tales, I can't help that, so she didn't get hot or blown off or nothing. Here's another deal with the Awan brothers. So there's another link. I'll put this on there. This is Bill Still reporting on it. And apparently what they have here, the information is there is a hidden server. So in other words, everything Awan was doing, he could forward to his own little hidden server, which, and this is part of the investigation, is potentially available to other people. So if they wanted to bid on something, for example, you wanted to get access to top secret information, he sends it from the Democratic and Republican network that he's been working on. He sends it to his server, and then people can access it there. So that's huge. I mean, that's treason, go to life in prison, perhaps death penalty stuff, and it's going along with Wasserman allegedly. So now we were talking about. We were talking about the hurricanes, and I had mentioned before about people talk about the warm water and all this stuff. And then I mentioned Jim McKinney's weather book, which I have up in my stack of important books. And we have Kelvin who sent this, put this online. He was on InfoWars, and it's a video. I don't think he ever did a video before. And he was talking about. Now he also says that they're enhancing these. In other words, they're steering them. And I know the possibility is there if you have laser satellites, you can heat the air up in front of it, or you can like make a trough for a hurricane to go and kind of move it around that way by putting something in front of it to attract it. But it's driven by electrical particles streaming in. And, of course, we just had the big solar flare with X-class flare and all the protons and the electron-less protons, positive charged particles, coming out of there. So I got to put that link there as well. Speaking of the global warming deal, John Coleman, he was a big weather guy in the 70s and 80s in Chicago. He was the guy that kind of invented the charismatic weatherman and coming up with the term thorms and thowers instead of thunderstorms, thunder showers, and he'd draw pictures and stuff. Well, and he was pretty big in Chicago. He is started the Weather Channel way back when, and he is coming out, unapologetic, in your face, showing that the global warming is not scientific, that it is a belief system. So links to that. I mean, that's talk about getting expert opinions. Ron Paul has a good article about Korea. We have to just not do it. So far, so good. They're not doing it, and what we need is somebody to go in there, a third party. People are talking about Dennis Rodman, and it's like, so be it if it's Dennis Rodman. Right now, you got two guys, standing there. Yeah. You need someone to come in. Nobody wants this. North Korea doesn't want to have a war. The U.S. doesn't, or at least we don't. Maybe the neocons do. So when you have people who don't want the war, but they can't be the first one to say it because then they'll look bad and all that nonsense, you have somebody come in and give a way for them to make peace, and then everyone's a hero. So I'm hoping that's going to be the deal before that happens. Yeah, John Coleman was in San Diego. It's funny. He was on an interview with the Chicago radio station where he used to be here for years. And they asked what he's doing. He said, well, he retired to do the weather in San Diego, where he was joking, saying, today it's going to be sunny and nice. And then tomorrow it's going to be sunny and nice. So it was kind of compared to Chicago anyway, I guess. It's kind of a nice thing. So, yeah, I know he was in InfoWars got a lot of good information, and people who have not been thrilled with the personality, let's say, of Alex Jones, and sometimes and all forth, and and I've been among those people. But again, his personality got him to punch through this lead ceiling into the mainstream, having millions of people now working with him, and I'm glad he did, because all this information he's bringing out, and so I'm passing along information here that my personal, I guess, belief, but it's also built in terms of, evidence, is that you have Satan. Satanism has been the background for, I'm saying, governments from the beginning of time. If you go back in time when they had sex rituals and some ritual sacrifice, about the Incas or Mayans or Aztecs, where they pull the heart out while it's still beeping. That's all satanically inspired under the guise of whatever god they're talking about. And the same thing here when we have wars and abortion and all these type of vaccinations or drugs that hurt people and keep them hooked. These are all basically going back to that satanic inspiration. And there's been articles here about the rituals that are having now. We had one of the people came out, and it's probably going to be on my leftist extremist Facebook page, admitted that she was using hexes and may have killed people with. I mean, how do you go out there and admit this? Yeah, I've used hexes and I've probably killed people on it. Huh? A lot of people go, that's all baloney, and then maybe that's why you can do that, because you could say I'm doing whim, But these things have been around since the beginning of time. And it's not that it's not that they're not Republicans that are, at least the rhino kind, are involved in this as well. So, another article, I got a Twitter from Liz Wheeler. I'd recommend looking at her on YouTube, One American News Network. She's a regular commentator. She's definitely a Republican conservative, so you're going to have disagreements now and again when you get to that point, but she's very strong on pro-life. And there was a ridiculous article that came out where you had a celebrity celebrating that she had it wasn't her first abortion, but it was her best abortion here in Seattle, and people are clapping. And there's also an app that is hooking up with Planned Parenthood so that you can date people, and you can go out with people who both agree on abortion, or you can steer away from someone who doesn't match up with you. And she had a great comment, like, with this dating app, nothing says true love like, here's where to kill our baby. And so it's a very grim but worth posting. Let's see, I got some interesting stuff here. I want to make sure I got nothing about. We'll get to the Assange. It's at top. All right. I got a couple interesting things here. When I first started doing the show, it basically was like my version of Art Bell's show. You know, I used to talk about, and I still do it on occasion, talk about interesting things. A lot of stuff going on in the chat room too. Is this saved? Does anybody know if this stuff gets saved along with the show? Because it'd be good to have your running commentaries. We got Steven is talking about Tony Heller does a fantastic job of showing the temperature graphs that prove the IPCC are lying. Very accurate research. So I'm going to say that just in case it gets lost in the mix. I wish the chat room would be saved. Spreaker does save the chat room when it does it. So we will see. I'll get an answer from somebody. But I wanted to mention that Tony Heller, Heller. And I'm going to see if I can look that up and do something in the links in the bottom, just in case it is. And of course, I don't. It's in my pen. Well, somebody, Stephen, if you're out there, if you're so inclined, send me a link or something, an email. I'd appreciate it, and I'll put it up in here. So one of the things I was very fascinated about is the X-37B. It is like a mini shuttle. It is unmanned. And it's been flying around in their atmosphere for many years now. Some of the missions are, well over a year. It goes up there. It has a smaller footprint. There's only 600 pounds of luggage. I can't think of the word now. Cargo space that it can carry. But it's a military mission, and no one knows anything about it. There's only two things that were done in the history of its being that was mentioned. There were two experiments. Also, its predecessor they're trying to see what the predecessor, which was not an Air Force mission, was supposed to be for repairing satellites. But then again, there's nobody on it, so I guess you're going to have robotics doing it. So it also has a lot of delta V, a lot of power to allow it to be in orbit, and then go like, okay, I'm going to go over here, and hang out. So the thought is might be a weapon, but then it violates the weapons treaties as if, I don't know who's going to stop it and search it. But so it's a big mystery. If anybody's got any data, I poked around a little bit, but there's just a lot of, like looking up HARP. You get like 1,000 different things HARP does, and maybe it does them all. But the payload, there you go, cargo space. So it's very, very suspicious. It's the Air Force, military. Nobody's talking about it. They don't even have cover. They don't even come up with like flowery stuff to say, make up stuff. It's just like, no, we're not saying that. So I put up a little info file. It's a pretty nice little short YouTube, kind of giving a brief history of it. So if people have never heard of it, this is a good primer. And then if anybody's got any information, they can post it to this or send it to me or what have you. Now, there's a video that's pretty cool here. I'm going to risk showing it a little bit. They had it's from a security camera, and I have it set up that's showing a tornado going over this area. And this is what would, if you're standing in, it just blows off everything. Hello. This used to be a big gymnasium. Now it's an open air arena. So those tornadoes are really impressive, need I say. Another story that being a truck driver myself, been doing it for like 32 years, there's a maximum amount that you can have without permits on a truck, and it's 80,000 pounds. Some states have roads that have less, but in general, 80,000 pounds. This truck was overweight by 85, almost 86,000 pounds. Overweight. So it was 169,000 pounds. It blew its tires out. They had to bring in cranes to lift it, and they couldn't lift it. They had to bring in a super crane, and then they ended up bending the frame. The frame was bowing under the lifting of it, so they ended up deciding to fix the tires and have the guy drive. So he got something like, I don't know what it was, $100,000 worth of fine. If they fine you by pound, and if you're over a certain amount, it goes up there. So it's like, ouch. Oh, let's get up here. This is the SPREAKER stuff. Yeah, this Tuesday, President Trump, I almost hit Bush in the Pelosi school here. He is going to speak before the UN. So that's going to be very interesting. And Kellyanne Conway was talking about this president this is not a president who will apologize for America. So I'm kind of interested in the allegations that he perhaps is being boxed in or being either given in or drugged or what have you. We'll see what happens at the UN. I'm kind of looking forward to see how that is for him. There's some more Bannon stuff. He's actually going to go against the rhinos. And so they're kind of spinning, like they're saying, like, well, wait a minute, he's going to end up having the risking the Democrats taking over and all that. This isn't the primaries now. He's going to be working in the primaries against the rhinos who won't support Trump, which is a very, very good idea. I was talking about that. I mean, I'm glad. I want someone to do that, and he's going to be focusing on it, so that's good. Now, this is a huge story. Julian Assange was on Hannity a few times, and he says that he has proof on the DNC who hacked the servers, and he is willing to exchange it for a pardon. Now, if this is very common for people who are being charged with a crime, right or wrong, to be able to give some information in exchange for immunity and then going up to catch a bigger fish. Now, to me, Julian Assange really isn't doing anything wrong. He's putting out information that people are leaking to him. Other regular newspapers have done this. And that's going to keep beeping. I got to turn this sound on. Other newspapers have done this. I mean, the whole Pentagon papers and all these type of things were all leaked. And so it's not like they're trying to make him into the hacker, that he was working with the hacker so they can pin stuff on him. Right? So we'll see. We'll see about that. But the problem is that what was given is so damning, not only for the Democrats back in the election in the DNC, and this is what he's trying to exchange for the pardon, but also WikiLeaks put out all that CIA stuff, which has got Pompeo fuming. So it would be very nice to see this. I would recommend somebody starts one of these petitions to see. So I want to see that go, because there hasn't been, I guess, a whistleblowing leaking of magnitude coming close to what WikiLeaks has done. I mean, nothing's close in history. So especially in the CIA stuff. So I would highly hope and recommend, and anywhere I can mention it, that they would pardon him. I mean, I don't think he even needs a pardon. He shouldn't be charged. Right? So the pardoning is basically stopping, or immunity is basically stopping before it gets to court. And if he's in a kangaroo federal court, well, then that's fine. I got one more story here, and then I want to talk a little bit. No less visible today. I mentioned that. He had all kinds of trouble. He worked for hours trying to get his recording equipment and whatnot done, and it screwed up. Well, he sent an email apologizing. Hey, no apologies. Believe me. This is what happens. So, it's brought up in the chat room that even if they pardon him, there's also wanted in the UK, but that's really, talk about, they're doing it just because of who he is and what he did. But now there's a big hoopla because a 10-year-old boy wrote the White House, said he wanted to cut the lawn for a summer job, which is very, enterprising, and the president being an entrepreneur. It's nice. Right? So Trump did it. So we have somebody here who wrote for this, the New York Times, not sending a great signal on child labor, minimum wage, and occupational safety. Trump White House lets a 10-year-old mow its lawn. Now, this just shows what kind of knuckleheads these people are and how out of touch they are with reality. Everybody, when you're a kid, has 10 years old, you have some kind of little job. Cut grass, you take out garbage for maybe an infirmed or a elderly lady. I mean, actually, a lot of stuff you do as a favor, and then they may tip you. But at lemonade stands, these type of things. And cutting a lawn, taking a lawnmower and walking down the block and cutting the lawn is a very common thing for a young boy. Hey, actually, anybody could do it. I mean, a woman, a girl, too, could do it. 10 years old, you take the lawnmower, you go up and down the street, you make deals with the people. You help them out, because a lot of them, again, are infirmed or elderly at some point. And this guy is going to take that type of nice little thing. He writes the White House. Trump says, yeah, let's do it. It's a good showing. It's a good showing of somebody putting herself together, getting ready. This person could even go out to be a good business person. You're looking at somebody who's going to succeed. And of course, this guy's going to write and say, child labor laws. This just shows the knuckleheadia. I don't know. I made up my own word, but it's kind of describe the act of being a knucklehead. You're in this air. I call it knuckleheadia, when you're in this kind of a fog. So this is, let me see if I can switch over here to make sure what I have on Stream Left Watch. Now, I mentioned this last week, and I'm kind of getting off this on the show. There's a lot of people talking about this stuff, and I'm not minding talking about it. But it's like, it just seems that I don't want to use a lot of time, because there's a lot of people talking about it, and I have other things I can add to the general population mix here. See if this works. Oh, yeah, I guess it does. This is the great thing that, I call it the YouTube time machine. And it doesn't have to be YouTube, but I just did it, People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens. Illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered illegally. This is Senator Chuck Schumer, 2009. 2017, the president's decision to end DACA was heartless and it was brainless. Same guy. Now, why isn't the mainstream media holding this guy's feet to the fire? Yeah, of course, I know they're all on the same page, but this is the kind of stuff that I'd be saying to these people if I was there. It's like, what about this? Hold on. We'll play the tape for you. Here's the tape. What do you got to say about that now? What's different now? And I wouldn't let him go, well, blah, blah, blah. No. So, and this guy, is being corruption for corrupt. Menendez is being charged, senator, for corruption. They did a whole story on him, and in liberal news, they had to say something about it. Didn't mention he was a Democrat. Russia story falling apart again. You have Neil Farage. His videos are being removed from YouTube. I like this one. I think I'm going to stop here because I did this last week. Once we illegally cross their border, we will demand voting rights, refuse to learn Spanish, fly our American flags, send our money back to the USA, and then call Mexican citizens racist and bigots for wanting to send us back to the USA. When you turn it around, this is the lack of contradiction. This tells you if you're propagandized or if you're being in some kind of weird thing. That's the type of stuff that's going on. And this is the problem that I'm looking at, that it's so obvious that what they're doing is wrong. But again, it's all part of this neo-Bolshevik / culture revolution where they're taking over things. So let me stop off this. Now, I got an email from someone while I was doing the show. Yeah, my little son thing is messing up in the background. I don't know why it's doing that. If it's too big, Anyway. It's too much energy for it. It even messes up the system here. Well, the cryptos. Now, I want to get to the cryptos have been very fluid lately. It was up to almost $5,000. It went down to almost $3,000. It was almost a $2,000 spread. Let me go back for the last week here. I mean, it was up to 430. They say 440,000. It actually was up higher, but it was more than a week ago. It was like 4,400, then it went down to 3,000, and then it shot up to 36, up to 39, back down to 35. Now it's up 36, 37. And I have a theory on this, is that at least Bitcoin is going to be very valuable because of its design. There's 26 million of them. You can't print them. They're invisible. You can't trace them. They're very secure. They're open source in that the general community keeps up on it. It's a very good thing. So now it's getting very fluctuating. So the idea is that by the press going up and down, it's like, oh my gosh, oh no, we can't depend on this. Well, I got my own little, I guess, conspiracy theory. Some might say is that what's actually happening is the main, say, banks, bankers, all those, the main financial people want the Bitcoin, but they're hard to come by because they're being mined, and it takes so much to mine them through processing power. I mean, it's basically an equation. It takes a long time to solve. When you solve it, you get a Bitcoin, and now it's yours. And people could sell them on the open market, and people buy and sell their own. You can buy it, sell it when it's high, buy another one when it goes back low. And unfortunately, I don't like that, but people are doing that. They're day trading, if you will. One of the things that the mainstream, if you were a mainstream banker and you have a negative debt-based money system, in other words, every dollar that's out there is actually owed to the bank by the United States, or we're paying interest on these loans. But if you want to get a hold of these, but by getting hold of them means it's expensive and obvious. Buying them is private, right? Because you can buy it and no one really knows what's going on. But what I see happening is you'll see an article will come out where it says, China is saying they're making the Bitcoin exchanges illegal. Boom. It crashes, goes down $1,000 in a Bitcoin. Goes down. And then China comes out with a story and go, wait a minute, the Western media misrepresented what we said. They're making them illegal at the moment while they can figure out how to regulate the exchanges for the safety of the people buying them. Now, there might be some more stuff in there to try to figure out. They're trying to use the plan I'm thinking of to bring the price down that the banks, we'll just call them in general the banks, the money people can buy them. And that's what's going on, I think, is that they're going up. Oh, we got a story. And then you got who is that? Chase? Not Chase. Yeah, Chase. Well, the Chase group. I forgot if it's actually Chase or not. He tweets, oh, this is terrible. We're never going to do this and all that. And then one of his own partners right underneath him tells him to shut the F up, was the actual tweet. Right? Not getting fired because he's a high, though underneath him, a high partner. I wish I didn't have that tweet. This was told to me. So what you have is the naysayers are going to be people who don't want that system to flourish. Now, if you don't like the Bitcoin, you don't know it, you don't get into it. All there is to it. It's like, no, it's not for me. Like I'm not into trying buying and selling stocks. I'm not into penny stocks. I'm not even into day trading Bitcoin. I'm into buying Bitcoin, the long-term gain when the Bitcoin becomes the new T-bill and it's worth, $10,000, $100,000 because there's only 26 million of them. Remember, there's billions and there's trillions of dollars out there. How are you going to store value in that kind of quantity? When you have Bitcoin, you're going to go up very high. This is what I'm, you forgive the pun, banking on. This is why I have one, because I couldn't afford to buy anymore. But I've already almost tripled in price when I bought it. I'm hoping it's going to go up. Because what I'm looking for is to, for example, it gets up to be $100,000 or more, and I can actually go to the bank who's going to want them, and I could pay off my mortgage or other things or whatever. And if you have some money, you can buy Bitcoins and you can leave the country without having to declare anything, and then your nation worldwide on the internet, you could then sell it on an exchange into the currency of your choice. It's a way to transfer money privately without having any kind of monkey on your back, and it's a debt-free currency. Once you jump into it from whatever currency you're at, now you're in this completely detached. So, people can send me, and, I appreciate knowing information, but the bottom line for me is going to be I'm going to watch the value of it. If it goes down to zero and stays at zero, oh, well, I blew it. Was a chance. But where is somebody going to try to be able to make retirable size type of money in a few years? I'm being 60. I guess I could live another 40 years. But the point is that I'm looking at it long term. And I think everyone, if they buy Bitcoin or Ethereum is more reasonable price. It has more issues. More issued coins. Therefore, it's going to be worth less. I don't know what this is in reference to. I got to see this now. Somebody posted on Facebook. Oh, it was about the child labor thing. So this is where I'm at. And I'm not saying it's better than gold. I'm not saying gold is better or worse. I'm not saying the dollar. I'm saying that this is a brand new invention. The weakness to a Bitcoin is if somehow they make it universally illegal. Well, now you're going underground. But remember, they made owning gold illegal. People still kept it. Kind of hard to do anything about it. And also, you can exchange it unless you get caught by a sting operation. The exchanging of it is completely private. I also know that they're working on some Bitcoin type of cryptocurrencies that they can trace or can somehow limit and use. So we will see how that works out, that if they are going to actually use some kind of a deal there, they can trick you into, turn in your Bitcoins for this type of thing. Now they have the Bitcoin in the background, the big new T-bill, while you're using their currency. So those are the things that I would be looking out for. Now, I was going to talk about something here. I will. The general theme, I know, first of all, I want to say last week I started talking about the Lord's Supper, and I said some things that, people were in the chat room a little upset about, using the idea of cannibalism. I was just mentioning it in terms of metaphor. And then I posted some links in the chat room, which I did post underneath of the show and John talking about how people were upset because he was talking with that same metaphor. And so what I decided to do is, I think what I'll do is I'll do individual standalones on those type of things in more detail with references and whatnot when I do something here that catches on or what have you. So in this case, I want to talk about the idea of the physical realm versus the spiritual or mental or imaginary in the terms of virtual. Throughout all of history, you can see let's just use the term evil, right? The evil powers want people to escape from reality. Drugs, sex, all kinds of weird sex stuff. Even wealth, vacations, fancy food. Even though that stuff is material, you would think, well, wait a minute, it's material. But they want to escape from the reality of the physical. Well, let me give you just a simple example. If someone is to have unprotected sex, which is delving into the material, but the real reality of it would be pregnancy, disease, damaging your ability to emotionally bond on a deeper spiritual level, etc. These are why these things are wrong. They're not wrong, some kind of arbitrary decision like God's going, no, this is really cool and it's good, I don't want you to do it. Or this is just a test if you trust me. It's like this bad. If you follow the proper way of doing these things, you can have a deep, wonderful, fantastic relationship and spiritual bond and growth, both physical and spiritual enjoyment. If you do it over here, you're just going to have a superficial type thing, and you're doing harm to the people involved because somebody you're fooling around with, they might get spiritually, physically, emotionally or spiritually involved, and they get hurt. So my whole point is that throughout time, they want to take you into the physical and negate the deep spiritual aspects of the physical, which are very important. We're here, and these are all things that I've decided, we're here in the physical realm for a reason. If you go back to the Gnostics of old, they would talk about, well, we can do anything we want in the flesh because it doesn't matter. All that matters is the spirit, your soul. So we can just do what we want and it don't matter. And other people abstain over ridiculously from anything physical. They'll sit and they'll be in a cave and pray all their life. And they miss the actual benefits, spiritual benefits and growth of interacting in a physical plane. It has a purpose. It's not like we came here to have a party, a nice little planet, and sin came and the devil came and now it's all hell. It's the point of coming here is to use the physical medium to do spiritual work and growth internally. So when you leave here, it's like going to school. When you go to school, you listen to the teacher, you learn the stuff, you do experiments, you do writing, you build things, you fix things. You learn that principle, and you leave school and you go on your way and you carry that principle. That's what's going on in life here. Coming to life, learn and do things, and then leave life and move on. And so what the negative side, evil side wants to do is to keep you from doing that because they know that the human being is very powerful. It's got a gift from God, and this is what the stories and the legends say, gift of God, special to humans, that even pisses off angels, and they don't want you to go into your power. They want to harvest you. So it's like if you took a racehorse who could be, a big race, it could be a set a record, big racehorse, and you don't want that to happen, so you put him on your farm, have him pulling a plow. I mean, it's a metaphor. It's just an analog. So, there's going to be, but that's what they want us to do. They want us to do something else that they could farm you from. Your energy, spiritual energy. I mean, this is why you have the trafficking and the horror movies and Satanism and all that negative energy is siphoned, and torture and in people who are torturing, and or just simply your physical and mental talents being harnessed to build them a financial wealth so they can turn around and have more control and make people do stuff. So we're not trying to come here. We don't want to come here and say, okay, I'm going to push away the things of the world and just live in my head or spiritual thing and get through life. Yeah, but the actual tools of life, like I was talking about, was it 2 weeks ago, when you do things, you have like when you're upset and you make actions in the world, you're pulling these spiritual levers that are affecting the universe. When you do that kind of thing, this is what the physical actions are. When you help somebody who is in need and you have compassion on them and actually do things to help someone, right? That is a physical, metaphysical action that builds a relationship with God, and you grow in that positive direction. That person is helped. They are touched by God with skin on, if you will. And so this is the kind of stuff. When you live a selfish world or you abuse others for what you can get and all that, this is why it's bad. It's not just bad because you go to prison, because a lot of people don't go to prison and who do a lot of bad things. It's bad because it creates this negative growth on the abuser. The abusee is retarded from becoming the best they can be inside their own life. It's like me with this work situation, the business I'm in with my truck situation. Boy, the last couple of year or so a year and a half has been terrible. And it's like I feel like I'm just like a slave, you know. Bankruptcy is not an option, at least not yet. So here I am burning my life away during the week. You know, so I did appreciate working on some of the musical tunes, and I give hats off to Zeph for kind of giving me an inspiration on that. This is why it's so important for you to go into the physical world using the spiritual levers and doing things, and not just avoid it. You know, and I quote Jesus, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." Well, the Greek behind it is actually, a translation would be, as you go. Teach people of these principles, and you teach them by your actions. They will know you by your fruit. So you go out and you do these things, and you also do not do the bad things. And that is an actual spiritual, physical action in the world, which is why they don't want that. This is why people who are being bringing up truth about political things or financial things or whatever, while you go on to Facebook and while they're attacked, why someone else can be talking about really just either nonsense, goofy stuff, or even bad stuff, and that's okay, because it doesn't affect the plan, which is turning all of us into like mind-controlled drones, worker bees, and just do the job for the higher-ups, and to not let ourselves grow together in power. If we get together as a group of people in a spiritual power, that's why Gandhi was good. And if you've not read the works, see the movie. Gandhi said, "No, I'm not going to participate in this system." Now, people died, people got beat, yes, but it broke the back of the British royalty. So this is why it's important to actually do your action is twofold, is doing and not doing. And it's doing, putting out there, turning the levers that do the good stuff, and not doing what stops the spiritual growth on it. And so whenever you look around, football, movies, I don't know, anything, it's going to keep your mind focused on doing something that wastes time from doing other things. Now, I'm not saying you can't do things that are nice. Like I say, I'm trying to work on music. Well, maybe some of the songs may give people enjoyment. They may actually have some spiritual benefit. Fine. But the point is that if you have a talent for designing things, whether it's doilies or houses, or if you have music or poetry, and you put a spiritual, emotional, physical message in this poetry or song or what have you, or artwork, people get this. You have this exchange of energy. You have this communication, which they don't want. That's why you look at the artwork, whether it be music, whether it be art, you have out in the world is going to be garbage, because they don't want to have any kind of spiritual, emotional, physical, metaphysical energy attached with it. And if they do, they want it to be one that's going to drain you. They want you to listen to their song and get drained, both money to buy it and energy-wise. They don't want you to listen to the song and get inspired. Or if you do get inspired, you get inspired to do negative stuff. So this is the Antifa and all this other nonsense is inspiring people to do negative things. That's why they like them. They don't like it. I mean, you could just look at it. Well, how can the left and these people, which they're really the Satan group. I mean, that includes the rhinos and whatever. How can they like Antifa, and yet they turn around and they call the Trump supporters these names? Well, because which is going to actually bring the world in a better move? Trump, they call him a racist because he's not a racist, because he's actually helping to heal racial division, which they use to break apart people. Well, naturally, they're going to say he's a racist, which is what they are, an inversion. And they'll say people are bad for the economy when they're actually good for the economy. And why state-run health care, therefore, is because it's actually bad for health care. Why you get crony capitalism is because it's bad for actual capital growth. It helps those individuals, but us. So when you think about it this way, it's pretty simple that you can actually go through life and actually choose good choices by recognizing the bad ones. And in fact, it's kind of funny because a lot of the growth I've gotten is because realizing other people are doing bad things. Oh, it's like they're exposing the wrong, and so I do the opposite. You can learn about God by learning about Satan. Whatever is attributed to the devil or Satan, you invert it, and there you got God. Satan uses people. God can't use, God gives. God can't get anything from us. It's somebody who is beyond space and time, beyond intelligence is beyond reaching. You know, it takes an infinity to get there. God's infinite, so infinite space, time, and power. So he can't get anything that he can't have on his own. The only thing that God wants is to have the fellowship of watching someone grow and to grow up and learn these principles that he has so that they can grow up. We're like a ray. We have an infinite course. We had a beginning, we have an infinite course. God is infinite before us, infinite after us. But we're going to take, God's infinite, it's going to take us an infinite amount of time to reach that infinity, which we'll never reach because it's an infinite. So it's a great thing. I should look into the chat room and see if the universities are teaching people to feel our truth. Now, feelings are very important if they're trained. If you need a system of feeling and thinking, you need to have this system because fear can warn you about something that's irrational, that you can't rationally, and it forces your rational growth to embrace the fear and learn from it. And by dealing with the irrational with the rational, irrational grows. But we need irrationality. We need the feelings to help the thinking, and we need the thinking to help the feelings. So it's a teamwork. It's a great combination. So, solar flares have no effect on me. I got a special solar shield right there. So, yeah, my hair's a little twinkly over here, so it's... Oh, I got the lighting in here, and but anyway, this is why when you see it all, it's like, but then we all have our problems, right? So we need to know these things so that when we have our irrational blind spot that we can't see, this is why we rely on each other. Somebody's going to come by and tell you. You know, it's like the person's coming out with their fly open or toilet paper on their shoe or whatever those classic lines are. Are you going to be the one to tell them that? Or are you going to want to let him or her walk by and go, I'm not going to say it. It's not my business. I don't want to get, it's embarrassing. I don't want to know about it. Or are you going to help the person? And so when we have, or are you going to try and control them? Are you going to find their weak spots and then go in there and just, zzz? And this is what the wrong thing is. So it's a complicated kind of a dance. We're doing like thinking, feeling, involved, not involved, respecting, asserting, this whole kind of thing that's happening. It's a real kind of weird deal. So this is why it's so important to be active in the world. Again, Jesus, my favorite teacher, Jesus said this stuff like no one's ever said them. I mean, other people have said them, but Jesus is like, bam, bam. It's like, be in the world, but not of the world. It's not go hide from the world. Be in the world and not of the world. I'm saying all this stuff. Boom, he comes out with one sentence. So this is why I want to talk about these particular things, because as people are talking about what's going on with the hearings, and now we hear Mueller just hired yet more left-wing type of people. There's 17 lawyers on this staff, and they're doing all this stuff. You hear all these things. You hear the, war is possible. You hear, this is why you have to be like this, so you can kind of roll with it. Oh, I think I probably should stop there. I haven't noticed, I've been glancing at the chat room when I've been doing it. I haven't seen any kind of questions or stuff come up and comments and so forth. Maybe I can copy the chat text. Hey, somebody at the end there, if you could try that, scrolling up or copying it or something, so I can keep things. It'd be nice people can read through that just to see what's going on, because people have their own threads and stuff that either tie in or are tangents or are not even connected, but are important. I do have one thing, because Les isn't here today. I wanted to play something, because I told you I was getting into my music and all this stuff. And if people listen to the radio show over the years, they realize the old theme of the show when I did just the audio, but it's too long to do video and do it every week like this. Good people just turn it off anyway. Probably turn off the audio, but for me, listening to a show and having like an intro and all this, it's like getting ready for the show. And when you have something at the end of it, it's kind of coming down from the show. But when you get into visuals, it's just like on, off, on, off, on, off. But I do have something. I did mention in the description that I did have. Less Visible's not here this week, but I do have the ancient one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play. There's lyrics on the screen, so there's a video experience here. This is the song that Zeph Daniel is working on. He's doing drums for it. So this is what I did. I did everything. I played all the instruments, wrote, sing, recorded, produced, all that stuff. And I used the program is called Wasonic Foundry Acid, and acid stands for something, not the drug, that allows you to take real sounds of a drum, and I could manually program them to play what I want. Not using a pre-done drum beat, but actually programming by putting putting packs on a bulletin board. And each level is where the drum will hit right here now. And it allows me to do it. So I was able to get a drum beat that was in my head, though I'm not a drummer, and I was able to try and come up with something on that. So who's coming up on future shows? Okay, good question. I'm going to be talking with James McKenney and getting him on here. I got to figure out if we're going to pre-record it or if we're going to have him live. So that's coming up next week or a couple weeks later. We have 2 weeks. Not next week, week after, Richard Allen Miller will return here. We're going to do it live. What I'm planning on doing is, because I have ties with other TV networks and whatnot, we're going to do this part of the show, and then we're going to have 2 links, and then we're going to go to the other part of the show. So that way I can record it and have it done separately. Or maybe I'll record the whole thing and I'll just peel it off and have a separate upload so that I can make it separate on freejack.tv. So those are the 2 things I have planned. I've had a couple running shows that haven't materialized. Also, I'm going to be talking to Mark Borchinger, because he has, and we'll do this as a standalone as well, though it might be in a show where we're going to have talk about what people can actually do. And it's talking about what I said today, pulling those levers of the universe. He comes with Hopi knowledge as well as other things. I'm more of the Jesus teachings, so we put it all, and of course he's Jesus too, but, you put it all together and we had this. He wants to get together and to put out a finite little an hour show or something, giving how the mechanism of the universe works in detail. Now, I said stuff here, I said stuff before, but this is one thing we're planning on as well. If you'd like to have people come on the show, send me an email with suggestions, because then I'll stick in my email box and I'll see it. There are some people I won't have, not because I'm not going to do what you want, but because I've either had them on or I'm aware of them and I feel that I can't. I mean, what I would end up doing is arguing with them because their positions are flawed. And I used to allow people on there and they say their stuff and I would disagree and I'd bring up some points and I'd say, well, and I'm just getting too tired. Time is getting too short in my life, I guess, in either days, for me to do a 2 or 3 hour show with a person who is saying a lot of baloney. And I don't want to sit there and attack them and make them admit they're doing baloney because they believe it. And I'm not the arbitrator. Maybe I'm wrong, and they're not. So there's some people I won't have on. But and believe me, I'm doing this since 2003. So if you look back in the archives, you might find them. Best thing to do is go to Feet2Fire. It's digit2fire.com, the original website, and there's a little Google search thing that doesn't. It's not 100%, but it does. You can put in a topic or a guess, and you'd be surprised how many of these people I've had on if they've been around for a while. And a lot of people I've had on who have died. Jamar's, Lungold. I can't think. I'm seeing his picture now. I can't say his name. There's a bunch of people I thought were pretty good, have not passed on, and those archives, those shows are there. And whenever news comes up with them, I always post it. So, all right, I'm going to go get. We're going to call upon the Ancient One, and I also was told that the Ancient One is also a evil being, but I'm talking about the Ancient of Days in this. So, and then we'll wrap up with the ending. And so remember, send James at feettothefireradio.com with your suggestions. If you have a guest, you want to send me links to websites. I got something to work with, so I don't, to keep my time so I can research and so on. And most of my guests I've come across, really, frankly, most of them have been either by listeners or bumping into them. And most of them by listeners. So, all right. I think, there's one thing about people say everyone has their own truth. And while there's truth to that, it's also, you got to watch out, because just because you believe it's true doesn't mean it's true. My truth is this. It may not be true. I mean, it's your truth, but it might not be true in the greater sense of things. So that's why one of my favorite lines by Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. The worst thing, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it memorized, but maybe I got it right on here on my website here. There it is. This is without a doubt the most reprehensible folly, the folly of thinking we know what we do not know. And so this is why we all have to search and test ourselves so that we know we're not in a delusion. Because reality is the ultimate truth bringer. So let's see if this will start up.
one's life, the one who is but love, whose love is all about, whose breath is in us all. Come bring within, without, oh, each one. I said each one. Each one. Come set our souls afire, almost ancient today.